Welcome back, everybody. In this video I'm going to show you an Ork Trukk conversion. I'm going to put tracks on this truck and it's going to walk you through all the steps. So here's the chassis and here's the tracks that I'm going to put on. It's from a 1/35th scale Sherman tank. I believe it's a Dragon model. That's the manufacturer. And here's some of the instructions that I looked at. So I'm basically going to put these wheels together and replace the wheels on the truck with them, and the sprocket here at the front, as well as the idler at the back. There's some of these here for the top to support the track. I didn't use those. I figured it would be orky enough and didn't really have to make a lot of sense. So here's how you put these all together. They're all single links and you just glue them together. I didn't use all of these bits. Yeah, so here we go. I trimmed off the points there with the wheel going on, and I tried mounting on some of the pieces. Oh, sorry, that's a bit blurry. Okay, so I mounted on the end there, and what I was trying to do was see if I could mount the wheel sets in line. I had to do a bit of trimming. You can see how I cut that off there. That's the front wheel, because that front wheel is smaller, so I had to bump this up so that it'll all be even. Now what I found out was that these here weren't going to be evenly spaced, so I'm going to leave that one there, and I'm going to have to do something back here to make it work better. On the front, for the sprocket, I found this piece of brass tubing, and this is the end bit that's going to go on here, and so that's just going to work as a front bumper basically. And added a bit of plastic in there just for a bit of detail. Nothing specific. So that's how it's going to get mounted. Just put lots of super glue in there, and like I said, those sprockets will go there, and the track will come up and around everything. Okay, so for the back, in order to get the right spacing between these, actually in order to fit them on at all, I put this plastic I-beam there and just mounted that right against those, so I had to trim them back a bit more, put the mounting bracket on top of there, and lots of glue to make sure it all held in place. And of course that pushed everything back, so I had to extend this part here. So these are little channel pieces of plastic channel, and a big piece along the back there. I didn't love how this turned out, and I had to add a bit more stuff. You'll see that in a minute. So here's the tracks. I'm just gluing together sections of them. You kind of squeeze them together. You see I've got a bit over that there. And what I did is I tried to put them together as big as I can. I used liquid glue, so like a liquid version of the plastic glue. Mine was Tamiya brand, and just plastered lots of glue on there to try to make that solid. And so you can see I just kind of laid it out, tried to give it a bit of natural flow onto it. And the back piece here is actually a leftover bit. Where's that from? I think it might be from one of my battle wagon kits that I didn't use. And so that extends the back just a touch, and this overall ends up being a little bit longer. The front's about the same as if you put the reinforced ram, so if you're playing in a tournament, that might be considered a bit of an advantage, or it might not be. I also put this turret on here to replace the gunner, just the one from the battle wagon, and that's the bottom of a bottle. Just painted it all black. And of course the front here is just from the battle wagon. I trimmed that off. You'll be able to see that. A couple exhaust things. I relocated that fuel thing. Added some glyphs. So not a lot other than the tracks, but so that was the main part of it. And so I spray painted it black, and now I'm just going to walk through the painting. But spray painted it black. I used Reaper aged pewter, which is very similar to Games Workshop bolt gun metal. It's just got a bit more of a rusty color to it. I dry brushed everything because I wasn't sure what was going to end up, what colors, so I just gave it all a good solid dry brush to give it a bit of a metallic look. Then I decided I'm going to do this Bad Moons. What am I talking about? Bad Moon yellow. Figure they have the money to pay for the tracks, so or I guess I could have done it Death Skulls because it would have been looted. Either way, I used the dark yellow foundation for the ID and Dark Sun there and painted on some of the sections I wanted yellow. So just went around and did that pretty quick, as well as on the driver, and that's a bit of Kemery brown, and I got it there, and Danube stone on some of those glyphs. So yeah, there you go. And you can see that's the front from the battle wagon. I just cut that off because I used def rollers and all mine, so I had a couple of those laying around. And now what I did is I went over everything with a stipple of rust brown. So just, you can see it blotches here and there, tried to keep it uneven looking. And when I go over everything again, that'll blend in a bit. But for now, that's just going to be laying down the base coat. You can see the other side there. I had a little bit of stuff I didn't spray properly there, so I put lots of rust on it. And there you go. So there's that piece I mentioned on the back there. I can't quite recall off the top of my head where that's from, but I'm thinking it's Battle Wagon. Okay, and so now what I did is I gave all of the areas that I painted there Griffin Sepia wash. So that's all the yellow plus all of the Camry brown areas, and that just helps bring down the colors. Now I'm just highlighting up all the yellows with a bit of Tausip ochre, and that's a slightly lighter yellow. And because I'm going to be doing lots of chipped paint on all this, I didn't have to be too careful. Just wanted to make sure I got most of the raised panels. Okay, so getting closer there, and now working on the driver here. So just a bit of snot green and scorpion green, building up the skin tones. And didn't do him quite as bright as I usually do. The highest highlight was just a mix of these two. Sometimes I do pure scorpion green on everything. Then I built up these areas here with bleached bones, so kind of in two layers. One like half watered down, and then one probably the other one was about as watered down as well. So the two layers make sure that I get a bit of a blending going on there. And then some of these areas here I'm going to give some red, just some contrast. And so base coat scab red and blood red highlight. There's no highlight on there just yet. And you can see I'm starting to highlight here. I'll show you that in a second. Oh, there we are. So lemon yellow, that's a Reaper. So it's kind of like Bad Moon yellow with a bit of bleached bone from Games Workshop. And I painted kind of rough around all of the edges of anything that I thought would be scratched. So just that's kind of the base coat for all of my chipped paint. And then over top of that, just pure dark flesh. So just inside the lines, again trying to keep jagged. That's my my rusty metal kind of showing through. So I've got kind of the scraped paint on the outside, then rusty metal, and then I'm going to do a bit of shinier metal. So that's kind of how it looks there. You have a bit of a halo effect around it. Doesn't have to be exact. You're just kind of going for an overall impression. Okay, so then I went back again with the aged pewter, so bolt gunmetal would work well as well, and just inside the inside that dark flesh, trying to get some metallic look there. And then on just the edges of things, as well as a bit of a dry brush over most of the metal, a bit of chainmail. So that's just to bring out the sharpness on some of the edges and the center bits where it might be freshly scratched, as well as all these metal areas, making sure the edges look like they're worn and cover up some of that rust on the edges. Now what I've done here, it's hard to tell, but I've used I have it in front of me here, Liquitex Texture Gel Resin Sand. So this is from the art section of a local craft store. What it is it's a gel medium. So it's a really thick, colorless paint with this textured resin sand in it. So it's basically the same as sand and paint mixed together. But in that form, it goes on nice and thick. I used a popsicle stick just to smear it on there randomly. So I tried to cover up as much of the tracks as I could and get a bit on these wheels. And what happens is that'll dry nicely in there. So it looks like snow or slush right now, but it dries a bit more clear. And then what I did is I did a heavy stippling coat of scorched brown. So that's scorched brown all over all of that, as well as a bit of the other areas that didn't get it. It could be nice and rough. And then I used this triad from Reaper and did progressive dry brushing. So this is the kind of a sandy kind of color, a little bit different than some of the other dirt colors I've used, and dry brushed on to get myself a nice dirty, dusty kind of a look on this thing. Now the Gretchen, I decided to put a little Gretchen on the front. I had a spot for him, so base coat of Gretchen green and a bit of bolt gun metal there. Calthan brown on all the other areas, so I kept it nice and simple. And then a couple washes, so I've got the Thraka green there, you can see that's wet, and some Devlin mud, and I believe I used some Badab black on the bolt gun as well as the Devlin mud. And then I'm going to use camel green to build up some of the highlights here. It's not pictured, and bleach bone on some of the all the other areas here that are brownish colors. And there we go. We're all done. You can see the how that dusty kind of look turned out there. That's where I mounted the Gretchen. That's the little foot pad that I think mounted here before. So I just put that in a different spot. And let's just walk around. So this was sitting in my to-do pile for quite some time. I had started building it and wasn't quite sure how I liked it. But then when I started painting it, it really came together. The unpainted version of it didn't do it justice. As you can see, I didn't put those little idler wheels in there at all. Didn't really think it was necessary, and if I hadn't pointed that out, not too many of you would have noticed. And so from the back, this looks okay, tabletop-wise, but it's not going to win any competitions, I don't think. And there's a little bit of an overhead view. So yeah, there's a slight advantage at the back here with a bit more room and maybe a little bit longer. But as long as you don't abuse that, I'm sure that's going to be fine. And just about any set of tracks would work. I don't really like the ones that come with a lot of plastic models. They're kind of a rubbery ones. I like these ones that are all individual links because it allows you to mold that flexing exactly how you want it. And if I wanted, I could have actually cut out a whole section here and moved this in. Might not have worked quite with this. I would have had to move that in to even it all up, but would have been a viable option, I think. And there's that Gretchen with some of the detail I mentioned, and the driver there with some of the paint chipped off his hard hat. And there's that back section. And underneath, just so you see how I kind of put it together. So there's that piece I added, this piece inside here, and these I-beams that are just attached to these parts that I chopped short, and I modified that there a little bit as well. So not too much conversion-wise. Hope you enjoyed it, and check back for more. Check my channel for other stuff over at miniwargaming.com.